Hey guys, welcome. This is HD, and welcome to the grand finals of GameCom Plantronics. I'm your broadcaster, and it's going to be a Zerg versus Terran grand finals. It is going to be a best of 5, and if you guys tuned in to the semifinals, either on stream live or on my YouTube channel, well, give yourselves a pat on the back, because you guys know all about the history of these two players. Satiini, the Teal Terran here, coming over in that Terran versus Terran war against Show in that best of 5. He actually beat him 3-0. Spectacularly well done. And he's going to be now spawning at the bottom right-hand position of the map. As you guys know, I don't really like bringing up the scoreboard because I feel like it doesn't give that much relevant information unless it's a mirror matchup. And I feel like it blocks a little bit of the vision. So I'm going to leave that off. And down over, or up over I should say, at the top right-hand corner, we do have vs.VirusWhite. He was the Zerg player who defeated his own mirror versus mirror opponent. That was Roof in a best of 5, and he beat him 3-1. And those games were actually pretty interesting. There was a little bit of back and forth. There was definitely some cheese involved. I'd say more than one time, so you guys should check it out if you haven't already. And that leads me to wonder, does vs.VirusWhite have what it takes, you know, to win out a long-term game? Now, I gotta say, it was mostly his opponent who cheesed him, now that I think about it. So, vs.VirusWhite, I give you credit where credit is due, but still, I feel like you do definitely have to prove that you can last in a super long-term game, because all the games you played against Roof were comparatively short when you look at Satiini's track record. So, let's see how this is going to go down. Plus, it's not a mirror matchup anymore. It is a Terran versus Zerg, and look at Satiini throwing down an engineering bay to block the hatchery. That's very interesting. Now, a lot of players will think about this and realize that, hey, the best building sometimes to block a hatchery if you're against Zerg is the engineering bay if you're Terran, and the cybernetics core, or, well, gateway or cybernetics core adding on after the pylon if you already got the pylon down. And the reason for that is it's the cheapest, it comes out with the most HP quickly, and like all Terran buildings or Protoss buildings, it can be canceled. So I like the strategy right there from Satiini, realizing that he wasn't really going to apply pressure and decided to throw the engineering bay instead of the more traditional bunker. And over here, back on vs.VirusWhite's side, after dealing with the engineering bay pretty handily, didn't have to worry about him too much, went ahead and grabbed a spawning pool and has the gas going right now, and I would expect to see him invest at first 100 Vespine gas right into that spawning pool so that he can get metabolic boost, which, as you guys all know, that speed upgrade, which is so crucial for the Zerg, especially against Terran, and pretty much against every matchup possible. And here comes Satiini here, bringing an SCV. Is he going to build a bunker? He is going to build a bunker. And I question, is he? Because sometimes Terran players will just posture and bring the SCV in the Marine and then pull it back. But he is going to build a bunker, and it's going to force these Zerglings to decide, where do we go? One Zergling will be split on the SCV, the other 3 deciding to hesitate for a second, maybe chasing that Marine, but no, deciding to go after the SCV instead, and Satiini pulls that SCV all the way inside the main to try to get a scout off, and proceeds to cancel the bunker. So just a little bit of antics between these two guys to start things off, but no real bloodshed yet. Units lost showing. The Terran actually losing the majority, as he, you know, had to cancel an engineering bay, had to cancel a bunker, and lost an SCV, and that all totaled up to about 106 minerals. But what that tab doesn't show you guys is the resources lost from the Zerg side, having to pull drones, having to build Zerglings to deflect that bunker slash engineering bay. It hurts the Zerg a little bit. If we look at the income, you can see that the Terran really on point right now against the Zerg vs.VirusWhite. So Satiini, I think, has been doing a decent job so far. And now, going into Hellion mode. Also want to call attention to this great wall at the front here. I love walls like this. And you can't do this on every map, but on this map you can. Those type of walls are just so intelligent. A lot of Terran players are doing it more and more often these days. And it prevents Zerg units from running. It's essentially what it does. And it really, it's a twofold thing. Not only does it prevent Zerg units from running in, because you could do that with any normal building, but it also makes it easy for Terran units to get out. A lot of Terran players always complain, well, it's very hard to get my units outside of the base if I've only got to work my way through one depot. Things get cluttered up. So it's a very smart wall. And Satiini there coming in with the 4 Hellions, but vs.VirusWhite has a spine crawler, and I love the placement of that hatchery to the north of the crawler as well. If you guys look carefully, that actually blocks off everything to the right-hand side of that choke. The only openings here are at the left. So that's a very, very intelligent wall. It makes things very difficult for the Hellions to run in, just like how they have a hard time running past the standard Terran wall of standard buildings, as all Terran units and all units in StarCraft usually do. Now, VirusWhite is grabbing the Spine Crawler at the natural. Love the positioning on that as well. Let's see if he's gone to lair yet. Not quite. Actually staying right on hatchery for quite a long time here. Usually Zergs will have that lair coming right away, and it looks like he must have pulled gas off after getting the speed upgrade. So his gas intake a little bit later here. He does have enough for a lair, but he might have to focus on efforts here on dealing with Hellions and Marauders. Interesting. So, Hellions here roasting up Zerglings quite easily, and the Marauders more as an anti-roach or anti-spine crawler weaponry to be used on the field. It's very interesting that he's brought in some Marauders here. Not very common at all. And the reason why is it's very heavy investment, I feel like, to get the tech lab on the barracks, to invest into the Marauders. It's not a unit that you see in Terran vs. Zerg very often, and I guess Satiini tried to do some kind of a break here. Unfortunately for him, it just didn't really play out the way he wanted it to. And now he's going to go ahead and roast up some Zerglings. He's going to catch them at the rocks. Although, or maybe the Zerglings will catch the Hellions. No, they will not. That's just way too many Hellions. Nice control. Loses one, but keeps the other one in the back. And it has 5 HP. If VirusWhite wanted to, he could actually kill that off if he controlled his queen. But neglecting to do so, and the Hellions will actually kill off a lot of Zerglings. But now somehow a large amount of Zerglings have flooded their way into the Xel'Naga Tower in the middle of the map. And these two Hellions on the way back, they were going back for repairs, but they ended up going back into a pack of hungry, thirsty, salivating Zerglings. And that's definitely not what Satiini wanted to do. Realizing that there's a Zergling threat out there, he is going to finish that wall off, a secondary trench wall, if you will. Love it. And he's got a full wall of supply depots from this point to this point. And I guess I should take this time now to mention there is a weakness with that supply depot wall, and if you think about it, it's pretty easy to know. It is the Baneling bust, but that is why Terran players will build bunkers, or, you know, not fully rely on the supply depot wall until they have siege tanks up. So I think Satiini is safe, and I don't think the Zerg player here is going to try to go for any kind of Baneling bust or anything crazy like that. There are 3 Hellions just chilling here, realizing here that the Zerg player doesn't have his third yet. That's actually really intriguing. VirusWhite's lair and his third this game have been considerably late, and he still doesn't have a Spire yet. So he's actually gone right into Infestation Pit. The Hellions here searching for the potential third do not see anywhere on the map. So VirusWhite here he's got a very interesting Zerg versus Terran strategy here, which seems to be the Zergling Infestor build. It's just a little bit delayed, I feel like, on the lair tech and in the Infestation Pit directly. But we'll have to see if this, obviously, a style that's popularized by Destiny, used a lot by Stefano, is going to work here. And, you know, Zergling Infestor obviously will not break through this wall. This is where that supply depot wall really shines. It's like the Great Wall of China, and nobody, not the Zerglings, not the Mongolians, nobody can pass it through that. So, ooh, a couple of Hellions here. Did get caught by Zerglings, or should I say the Hellions are trying to escape right now, and they will actually be the ones that are getting caught, as the Zerglings will predate them and finish it off. Nice play by VirusWhite, who is now finally going to go for his third. Gosh, I really feel like, guys, that third hatchery it's a bit delayed by a large amount, I feel like. And as a result, his supply 110 to 110. So VirusWhite not favoring that Zerg supply lead that most Zergs should be at this point in the game. We also have a medevac moving out of the Terran Natural. It is going to control that Xel'Naga Tower, and 8 Marines going to make their way outside and unload their cargo to just post, I suppose, and watch the tower for a little bit. And whoa, what do we have here? Burrowed Zerglings. So he did go ahead and research Burrow. And obviously Burrowed Zerglings are a deadly trap. Not quite as deadly as Banelings, if you ask me, but they are much more deadly and cost-effective against tanks that might end up walking over it. I don't think we're going to see any tanks moving out quite yet. Maybe not for a few more minutes. Satiini is still building up his army and making his way over to the top here, as he loads up his Marines inside. And I like what he did there. He unloaded the Marines out of the medevac, and I think the reason why he did that was, oh, he's gonna, well, might not evade the Overlord entirely, but I think the reason why he unloaded the Marines was in case there were Mutalisks in the sky, well, then the medevac wouldn't get picked off and the Marines would be outside ready to go. So that was actually kind of intelligent, not loading them into the medevac until it was absolutely necessary, and now he is going to pick off that Overlord. Thankfully for him, though, there aren't any mutas on the map. It's just Zergling and Infestor, but Infestor can be just as deadly against these medevac drops as a Mutabomb can. And vs.VirusWhite waiting for all the Marines to unload first, and then he launches the Fungal Growth. That is very intelligent, and realizing that, hey, I can get more money for my vomit's worth, I guess, if I wait for the Marines to come out of the medevac. So very smart play. And oh, here comes the Marines and tanks. There was a comsat, oh, just at the northern edge, and now all the rest of the Zerglings deciding, oh, time to unburrow. And that was actually really lucky scan by Satiini. If it had just been an inch higher to the north, he would have fallen into a massive trap of Zerglings. And no doubt with reinforcements, that would have crushed this Terran army. But now Satiini is going to set up on the high ground. We'll see if he can do some damage or not. Keep in mind his Marine numbers aren't nearly as large as we'd like to see, because he did just lose a medevac pool. But he has dropped off behind the natural. Meanwhile, the Zerg army is coming in. It is going to go in right into the siege tank line. And the Infestors, are they going to be able to get a Fungal Growth off? They will. That's a beautiful Fungal Growth, catching all those Marines at the Xel'Naga Tower. A couple of infested Terrans coming out for good measure, but I don't think it needs to be done, as the Zerglings are going to clean up at the waist, as well as the Zerglings cleaning up at the natural. Well done by by vs.VirusWhite, excuse me. And Satiini has to pull back, but surprisingly, I can't hardly believe I'm saying this, but Satiini is still ahead in supply. He just lost most of his army, and I guess half of that can be attributed to the fact that vs.VirusWhite did lose all of his Infestors there. He should have tried to save his Infestors. They are pretty expensive. And the other half of that is because his third still isn't saturated. So vs.VirusWhite really needs to drone up. He's still behind the Terran player, and if anything, he was behind this entire game, and that flank that he got here is the only reason why he's even now with the Terran. So yeah, it's not looking bright unless vs.VirusWhite can start to get some drones up. I'm still not sure why he's not droning up. There is this other Zerg mentality. I have to point out, there is this other Zerg mentality where Zerg players will actually only build up to 50 drones, 50 to 60 rather than the normal 70 to 80. And then by that theory, by that mindset, they feel like they have more army when it counts. They have 20 more supply, 20 to 30 more supply in the army. Granted, if you're going to use that strategy, that theory, you need to be trading blows against the Terran. You cannot let the Terran max out. Otherwise, you're in a lot of trouble. So I would feel like vs.VirusWhite should be making attacks. Maybe he's just waiting for his maybe he's just waiting for his lair or his hive tech. And he is getting 3-3 right now, and he has an Ultralisk Cavern. So perhaps yes, he is probably waiting for the hive tech to finish. Also has a group here waiting for an impending drop, but both players playing extremely conservative now after the action that we saw in the game. There is one Ultralisk making its way out of this egg right here. Oh, that's lucky me, and found it right away. And an Ultralisk obviously is going to bolster the Zerg army by leaps and bounds. And now it looks like the Zerg, Satiini has finally, not Satiini, vs.VirusWhite has finally decided to go ahead and drone up. So he is at 82 drones now. He is playing the more standard style of TVZ. I don't know what these Infestors are doing. Oh, they were burrowed and trying to go in for a hidden sneak attack, but the Marines getting a scan down. Very nice scan by Satiini. This medevac did make its way out to the left. Those Zerglings should have seen it, but I don't know if vs.VirusWhite seen it. Did he seen it? You know, sometimes your units are going to see stuff, but you might not have been paying attention to the minimap, and I don't think he was, because this medevac still hasn't gotten any forces coming out to intercept it. There is a Spine Crawler over here, 2 Crawlers in fact, so this hatchery might be safe. And vs.VirusWhite right now just maxing out. He is going up to 200s, as is Satiini. He is maxed as well, so I would imagine in the next couple of seconds here we're going to have some kind of huge trade between the two armies. And here comes Satiini with that little lone medevac. Let's see where he decides to drop. There is an Infestor there, and Satiini needs to be careful of where he tries to use this surgical strike. One wrong move and he can lose another medevac full of Marines, and it looks like for now he's just going to pause. We have another supply depot wall here, the extension of the Chinese Great Wall all the way out to Vietnam. And now the command center is going to lift off. And I'm not too sure where it's... Oh, wow, he's going to actually expand right here. That's bold. And, you know, the mantra of Terran is to expand towards the Zerg, and the Zergs expand away. So maybe this will play out for him. I love the Marauders. Look at how many Marauders Satiini has. Oh, my God, he has so many Marauders. He just knew Ultras were coming. He's got a ton of Marauders, and unfortunately, I'm sorry to say this, but Banelings and Ultras are not very good against Marauders. Banelings do not do that much damage against Marauders, and, well, Marauders own Ultras. So this could be bad for Satiini, for vs.VirusWhite. Satiini totally switching it up with Marauders here, and this could be devastating. Now the Ultras and Banelings are crashing through. A ton of tanks are going to go down, but then what? Oh, love the fungal growth. But now this is the problem. Those Marauders are going to eat those Ultras up. And yum, yum, yum in my tum-tum-tum. That's great. Satiini here is in a great spot right now, and the Zerg player's in a lot of trouble. There's actually a Marauder drop here. 2 Marauders coming in here to deal with vs.VirusWhite, just dropping behind the natural. Love the drop. And Satiini also starting to pick off creep tumors in the middle of the map. There is a Ninja Hatchery going down to the bottom left-hand corner at the same time, but that probably won't have any bearing on this game for a while. vs.VirusWhite might actually just lose this right now. He's in a lot of trouble. He's got a ton of Zerglings though. Now this is the thing, if you go with the Mass Marauder tech switch, you are vulnerable to a Mass Zergling tech switch, Mass Zergling Infestor in fact, and even Mutalisks as well. And I'm sorry, but Zerg switches much faster than Terran does, and this Marauder army suddenly doesn't look that strong anymore. I'm not too sure why vs.VirusWhite is making so many Banelings. He really doesn't need more than, I don't know, 10 or 12 really. So I think that might be a bit overkill, but we'll see. There's Medevac making its way over to the Ninja Hatchery. It will see the Ninja Hatchery. Will Satiini drop here or not? Or is he just going to let the Medevac fly past? Great awareness there, on point. Drop some Marauders off, and even getting a little cute with it as well. Don't know if vs.VirusWhite... pull the drones away. Don't know if vs.VirusWhite's going to even bother to save it because it's so hyper-extended away from the map, or away from the Zerg player. And that's really why you want to expand here or something like that. So I don't know, that's a little weird. But yeah, the hatchery is going to go down. Satiini will save that medevac for another rainy day. Here comes that Ultra Ling, Zergling, Infestor, everything bomb. And those Marauders just aren't going to be nearly as effective. There's over 12 Marauders here, and the Ultras and Zerglings are just going to crash through. I hope that vs.VirusWhite has adrenal glands right now. It looks like he does, and he's just gonna crash through everything. The entire Terran army gets leveled to the ground of Tal'Darim Altar. Medevac's still up in the air, of course, but there is a planetary fortress here that Satiini can fall back to, and it looks like the Zergling numbers have thinned out now, so the Ultras and Infestors will have to back out. I'm gonna take a quick glance at the spawning pool. There is adrenal glands finished. That's very good to have. If you're going for a huge Zergling composition like that. And now vs.VirusWhite switching back into more Ultras after he thinned out the Marauder numbers. Man, this is really creative. This is very smart, and it's keeping Satiini on his toes because Satiini has to continue to keep up scouting. He has to keep dropping comsats to check on the composition, and there we have a comsat. He sees Ultras and he sees Zerglings, so he knows that he's got to get a healthy mix of Marauders and Marines, and there we have 5 Marauders and 3 tanks. Not enough Marines if you ask me, guys, and he might want to start to up that Marine production. Meanwhile, dropping over to the top here, over that cliff, looking over the 4th hatchery, and he is going to be able to kill off the Extractor, but I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to do much more damage. Drones, once again, mass exodus away back home, and a couple of Zerglings have been sent out to deal with that. Meanwhile, there's an Infestor! What is this Infestor doing? It has 0 kills. I'm not too sure if he's going to try to spring some kind of a fungal or an infested Terran bomb. But obviously one Infestor isn't going to be very cost effective. It's probably just going to end up dying as soon as it comes out. Meanwhile, drones coming back over to populate that hatchery over here. But the Marauder drop was never really cleaned out, so that might be a problem for those drones when they go populate the new hatch. But there are some Zerglings there just waiting. And here come those Marauders once again. Just going to snipe off that Extractor. And of course in ZVT that's pretty important to do. Zerg does rely heavily on gas. There's a missile turret coming up, so this Infestor could go down. And here comes the Ultras once again, but the Ultras are so clumped up. And look at that tank line going to work, but the Ultras are so buff. My god, those Ultras are just cleaving their way through. They're going to kill off all the tanks and the Marauders and then some. Well done, and now the infested Terrans come out of the Infestor. One Marine will chase that down, but the real action is occurring right here as the Ultras continue to give chase. There's a huge fleet of medevacs flying in the air right now, and that is a problem for the Zerg. Even though vs.VirusWhite did just crush that Terran army, he's got to get some mutas or something to deal with those medevacs, because that medevac army in the air really helps to bolster any new Marines and Marauders that do come out. Meanwhile, 4 Marauders over here still doing damage. Clean burrow, nice micro. Although that Queen will probably die. Yes, it will. All the Ultras getting called back. That's the problem really with going with a strategy where you don't have any air units? How do you deal with the medevac drops? How do you deal with the medevacs, period? Unless you have a lot of infestors. And oh, what the heck? We have 3 nuclear missiles in production right now. What the heck is going on? Things could get very, very interesting in the next couple of seconds. I love watching nukes in Zerg versus Darren. It's like my all-time favorite splurge. And Satiini almost loses that medevac, but he keeps it alive. That thing has been a thorn in the side of Virus for the longest time. And what about these nuclear missiles, man? Are the ghosts on the field? There are no ghosts yet. There are no ghosts in production either. I don't know how he hopes to use a nuclear missile unless he builds some ghosts. They do not just come out of the sky. You do need a ghost. And here comes some Zerglings. They are going to pick off the USCVs. The Planetary Fortress isn't done yet. That was a nice play by Virus. And now he's going to make Banelings. The Planetary, unfortunately, does not have the range upgrade. So the Banelings here could do some damage against the Mules. It all depends on whether or not the PF kills them all in one shot, if they're grouped up or not. Oh my god! Wow. That was really lucky by Satiini that the Banelings were rallied away, and that was actually a blunder by Virus. I don't know why he would rally him away. He already took the trouble to send him back here. And that was definitely one of those OMG moments, so Satiini here and vs.VirusWhite still maxed out, still chilling, no ghosts, no nukes coming out yet. In fact, there's 3 nuclear missiles still in the silo. Good fungal growth, huge fungal growth. In fact, there's like 6 medevacs stacked right there. They could get chain fungal. Now the infested chance coming out, and half the medevac fleet will bite the dust. Here's the 3 ghosts on the field. Will they launch a nuclear missile or not? They're up inside the Zerg mix, and here comes the nuclear missiles. Oh my god! But it's totally gonna whiff. I don't know what he's trying to nuke right now. Should think about nuking himself maybe, because these nukes are just gonna end up killing himself. And the Planetary Fortress is gonna go down. Okay, nuke a couple of Zerglings and infested Terran, sure. And it looks like the PF will go down, but there is a drop meanwhile inside the Zerg natural, and things are getting hectic right now. They're getting real hectic. I'm not too sure what's gonna happen at the conclusion of this game. The Ghosts totally whiffed their nuke, so that was just total bad expenditure. And oh my god, the Ultras just coming in. Too many Ultras, I think, and Satiini might not be able to keep up. He's still dropping inside the Zerg base, but it's just not a strong enough drop, not in comparison to these Ultras. Now that supply depot wall, it's gonna have to come down to the wall. Hold the Alamo. Those Ultras are getting clumped up. Fungal goes on the grouped up medevacs. And that little choke point right there is proving to be very problematic for vs.VirusWhite. He can't punch through that area. He spits out some infested Terrans to help clear the way. Now the tanks have come out, and the tanks are going to siege up. Oh my god, this is the Alamo for Satiini. Satiini's got to hold on. Can he do it or not? The Ultras are still trying to claw their way through. Now they're going after the supply depot, and the dam has been broken. The dam has been broken. The Mongolians are through. The Ultras are in, and I don't think Satiini can survive. I think this is going to be all she wrote. This is the first game in this best of 5, the finals of GameCom Plantronics EU, and what a spectacular game. I think vs.VirusWhite is in. vs.VirusWhite is in. This is 8 versus Zerg, 1 fight versus imbalance, and it's auto lose no matter how many fights I rape before it. GG. Okay, well, I guess we're gonna have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder as we approach game 2, but that was an incredible Zerg versus Terran game, one of the better ones I've seen, and oh, I can't say much else. I hope you guys stay tuned. We're going to have Game 2 coming out right after this. And this is HD signing out.